Hey guys, F1Rose26 here, back once again for another AOR social on F1 2018. This is actually the 6th social I've done, but the other 4 after Belgium weren't really worth uploading due to disconnects or me just driving around at the back. But we're here at Monza. I've actually done some practice for this one, so hopefully my pace will be good and I won't be facing backwards into turn 1 with no front wing. So coming to start our qualifying lap now, as you can see, we're currently sitting in P2 just behind Pinecone. Who is in fact an AOR F1 driver, or he was in the last season, so I'm not really expecting to beat him, although we've nailed that first chicane there pretty much. The car on the pit exit didn't distract us too much, and we managed to get the apex for both corners as we now head through Curva Grande towards the Rogge chicane at the end of Sector 1. Are we going to be purple? We've been struggling in Sector 1, and as you can see, we're not quite purple, but we're green though. Once again, nailing that chicane. Unfortunately, a bit of oversteer on the exit, but we managed to catch it easily, and don't lose too much time as we head through the first Lesmo now. Getting the car turned in nicely. It does like to understeer a bit, but we managed to keep it in 5th gear, and the second Lesmo down to 4th. Let the car run out wide and on the power nice and early for the DRS as we head down the back straight towards the Ascari chicane, underneath the old banking now as we head down towards the braking point, just about there, into 5th gear rather. Let the car run out wide. Try and avoid that curb there because it will throw you off, as we've managed to get that hooked up very nicely. We pass a Renault on the left there as we head down towards Parabolica to finish the lap. Hopefully we can get it turned in nicely. This is quite a difficult corner. We've managed to make the apex quite nicely actually and get on the power early. Let the car run out wide on exit, but don't drop it on the white line as we head straight to the line. What's the time going to be? And it is a 1:19.3, which is some provisional pole here. But unfortunately it wasn't to be. Pinecone put in a rapid lap of a 0.1, which I wasn't getting anywhere near. But second on the grid, beating Langman and Melanie and Apex as well, who was rapid at Silverstone last week. So it's looking good for me here, but I can't start, so it's not going to be good at the start of the race. But yeah, Pinecone takes pole by about 2/10 from me, Langman another 2/10 back, and then Apex, Mel, P1R Brown, and Thomas in 7th. Brown has a penalty for some reason, so he'll drop to 11th as we now head to the race. As you can see, it's quite wet, by which I mean full wet for the entirety of the race. So, I was looking to see if the game was thinking the no stop was possible, and it wouldn't let me remove the second stint. We're going to put our front wing up to 3 to run 3-4 wings here, which should allow us to have decent-ish downforce whilst not sacrificing the straight line speed, which is still very important, even in the wet. So we're getting the best compromise as well. So I'm thinking the setup should be alright. I haven't changed anything else apart from the wings. As we now head to the grid, we have 1 light, it's 2 lights. I haven't done a wet start yet, but it's now 5 lights. Will we be able to get a good start? It's lights out and away we go, sort of, not really. Now we're getting up to speed. We've actually had a good start, but I booted the throttle too early and had to get an oversteer moment there. As we head up the inside of Pinecone into turn 1, we braked a bit too late, locked up with the cold brakes, but we've just about managed to get it stopped. Pinecone holds it on the inside. We run in a bit deep to turn 2. We've now got Langman pressuring us on the inside. We managed to hold on with the superior traction on the outside line. And as you can see, visibility is absolutely disgusting. Although I have to say, fair play to Co-Masters. This is very good what they've done here. This is probably as realistic as it's ever been as we head to. And then we have a safety car. The safety car has been deployed here on the first lap. Unbelievable scenes. Not seen the safety car once in the past 5 socials, but here we have it today on lap 1 at Monza, and I'm not particularly sure why, because no one actually retired, so seems to have just come out randomly. As you can see, he's coming to the end of that. Langman's not concentrating, and he's run into the back of me there. I think he was changing his fuel or something, God knows. But yeah, he's got damage, and he's also picked up a stop-go, which is interesting, given the fact that literally he's hit me, and I've carried on a straight, but we won't question it as Codemasters. So yeah, that gives us a bit of a buffer with Langman with wing damage on the start, so maybe we can be more aggressive on Pinecone on the restart. It all depends really how good a restart we get, what Pinecone decides to do. But we've now caught up to the safety car, and we're hoping at this point that it's actually going to work, because obviously we haven't really tested it yet. I haven't done career mode, so I don't know if it works in there. Skipping on to the next lap as we head down towards turn 1, Pinecone has actually managed to miss his braking point under the safety car, which is going to slow everyone up through turn 2. I've had to go really slowly, and yeah, the less said about that the better. I was enriched to waste fuel because I thought I had too much, and just a bit too much throttle on the exit there. And Luckily, Apex had to let us back through, but Langman has now got the position, so bit of a rookie error for myself there. Not my finest moment once again, but it hasn't cost us too much, only one position, so hopefully Langman and Pinecone can crash on the restart. Talking of the restart, we are now here on lap 4. We've had 3 laps of safety car, and as you can see, Pinecone's trying an interesting strategy on the restart. He's going it as fast as he can to get round, so he's waiting for the safety car to go into the pit so he can be released, which is interesting. Langman and I have both got huge amounts of oversteer. Pinecone's managed to hold it quite nicely, as we're now getting in the slipstream of the Force India. His braking may be limited by the damaged front wing, so we're going to have a look into turn 1. We could pull alongside, not quite. I suspect we won't go for this. We're going to be nice and cautious on the brakes. Let Lang have the position. Pinecone's actually missed the chicane. He's going to have to go straight across the tarmac there, and that's going to allow Lang to take the lead. Can I get around the outside into P2? Yes, I can. And Pinecone makes a mistake. Obviously, I don't think he runs. No, obviously he doesn't run the racing line if he was in AR or F1. So I'm probably at a slight advantage in this wet weather race, but. Once again, I'll take it as Langman has now missed the second chicane, so obviously the no-line users may be struggling, or maybe it could just be cold brakes. They're braking at the correct point and the brakes aren't really slowing them down. So Langman now leads from myself and Apex, who's also managed to pass Pinecone after his adventures at the first chicane, as we run a bit wide into Lesmo 2 there as someone's joined, which is really helpful. Thanks for the frame rate drop. So coming down the back straight, Langman's actually got away. He's absolutely nailed this restart, a Vettel-esque pretty much from Belgium last week, as we head down into Ascari, but we've locked our brakes and we've run deep, and at this point I decided to straight line it instead of trying to come back on the track in the middle. We've lost places to Apex and Pinecone, and Mel's going to have a go on the exit as well, so we drop down to P5 now, as we're going to have Thomas having a look up the inside into the Parabolica here. Mel's giving Thomas slipstream, I think, but now comes back onto the racing line in the braking zone. We turn in but adjust our turning angle, which was probably unnecessary. We were being a bit too cautious of where Thomas's car is. He sweeps past us there, as does Aaron Dazzler in the Red Bull, but he's lost it on exit. Very tricky conditions, and Thomas is actually now giving us a slipstream. We're back past the Red Bull in the slipstream of Thomas. I think we're a bit too far back for turn 1, but it depends. He's starting off with no line and he's very cautious into turn 1, so we're going to go up the inside, make the apex nicely actually, and we've turned in on him a bit there, just minor wheel to wheel contact, so it's all okay. We're going to go side by side on the exit. We in theory should have better traction due to the outside line, and with the boost of overtake ERS, I'm assuming that's us up into P5 once again, and we're now going to have to hunt after Melanie for P4 as we come into the second chicane. Mel's hopped over the curb a little bit there, as we now skip to the next lap number 7 now, as we head down towards the chicane once again. Sarah Hamilton sets the fastest lap. He had to pit for damage on the safety car restart. Mel's got a poor line through the chicane. We've absolutely nailed it, however. He's got oversteer on exit. We're going to go up the inside into Lesmo 1. This is very aggressive given the wet conditions. We've shifted down to third, got a bit of oversteer on entry, but Mel's not really fought it too hard, I think. I mean, he did have a poor run into the corner, so we had the better overspeed and also the inside line, and we've actually managed to get the move done there through Lesmo 2 as well. And I suspect Mel won't ever go into Ascari. We'll have to have a look. He's not close enough, I don't think, even with the slipstream. We're using high ERS and fuel modes because we can afford to, given you don't really use ERS in the wet, and we've probably put a bit too much fuel in as we managed to negotiate Ascari nicely. As we skip to the end of the next lap, I think Langman has come in for an early pit stop to change his wing and serve the stop go, so it's going to be a long pit stop for him. It's going to cost him a lot of time. As we now skip on to the end of the next lap, we've done a 32.6, I think that is, so the pace is there. That's only a couple of tenths off Pinecone and Hamilton, who's at the back, so our lap times are good as we improve once again on the next lap, 32.5 this time around. So finding time all the time as we get more accustomed to the wet weather conditions, as even with the tyres maybe going off a little bit, especially on the rears, we're still finding time as we did 32.4 that time around. As we now are on lap 12, I'm coming into the pits at this lap. I'm trying to get the undercut on these two ahead, who I've actually managed to catch. My pace has been very impressive for once, and I've caught these guys who have been battling, to be fair to them, so their pace might have been better than me. But as you can see, once again, the spray is pretty atrocious, but we're managing to stay out of that as we take the inside line, which will become the racing line now. But as you can see, through the rocky chicane, you can barely see the apex. Langman sets the fastest lap, so at this point I'm thinking, if I want to jump him, I need to be getting in the pits quickly, as we now head towards Lesmo's. I'm hoping these two stay out so I can maybe get the undercut on both of them, but I suspect they may have similar ideas. Maybe the one behind will come for an undercut as well. Unfortunately, my teammate's in the pits, but they fixed the stacking glitch, so he should be out of the pits by the time I get round to come in for my stop. Is Pinecone going to have a go into Ascari? Not really. Apex goes defensive and slows them up through that corner, which has allowed me to close up, but my confidence on the throttle isn't quite as great as theirs, as they managed to pull away once again on exit. But what I can say is the wheel in the wet is fixed. On the last game, I could not compete in the wet, but as you can see here, competing with Pinecone and Apex, who are both very quick drivers. Pinecone was up with Leopard in the Hungary Social we did in Apex, was up with Surprise in Silverstone last week as we come into the pit lane. They both stayed out, just managing to get it slowed down. There's a pretty nervy moment in the party as I thought I was going to speed as we now head down the pit lane towards the Haas garage. Not quite right at the end, but as you can see, they're not ready. They've clearly not fixed the glitch because the Haas pit crew were nowhere near ready for me, even though my teammate has long gone from the pit lane. We've had an 8-second pit stop, which is absolutely disastrous. Any chance of the undercut gone. Melanie's jumped us now, so if those two stay out long enough, Melanie could be their effective race leader. We're still ahead of Langman at this point, despite the ridiculous stop, and there he goes past, which just shows how far we would have been ahead if the Haas boys had known what they were doing as we head down towards the chicane. Langman's just managed to get past Jack there, so we're hoping that we'll also be able to clear him very quickly and get back after Lang and Melanie, because I think my pace is good enough to challenge those guys, and I want to have at least third in this race, assuming no one is able to pull off a no-stop, which we were sceptical about. We didn't think it was possible, as that's a good line and that's our first warning of the race. Not ideal. But yeah, Jackie's going defensive into the first Lesmo now, which is completely unnecessary, if I'm honest. I'm not going to go for Muha, I wasn't even close, as we now head through the Lesmos once again. If we can get a good exit from here, we can maybe have a go at Ascari. He's running quite high wings, so we have a bit of an advantage here, but our exit isn't quite good enough, and Jackie is able to hold on to the position for the moment. As you can see, I'm currently in P10, so a lot of people yet to pit, P12 rather, sorry. I can't read. Yeah, P12, but we're not at half distance yet, so I'm not surprised people haven't pitted, and maybe with the safety car, people trying to extend the first dim. So they can push harder on in the end. As you can see, not a great exit from Ascari for myself, as we've dropped back a bit, but if we can nail Parabolica, we should be able to have a go into turn 1 with our lower wings and superior straight line speeds. I think we'll put it up into overtake as well as we come off the Parabolica now, but I don't think we're close enough. More people in the pits, Nura I think in the pits, and Kay as well, which moves us up to 10th. There's Thomas moving us up to 9th. Who we've just about managed to stay ahead of despite the long stop, as we're going to have a half-assed look up the inside of Hamilton to turn 1. He actually did give me space, but I wasn't really in any position to commit to the line, but now we're going to go for it here. This is where he's probably not expecting me to go for the move. We're going to put it up into Rich, up into overtake. We get in the slipstream. He takes the inside line, which gives me the racing line, which is much preferred, but we managed to clear him before the braking zone anyway, as we managed to get it stopped for the chicane, which we absolutely nailed there. We're up into P8, and we're now going to put our focus on getting after Langman in the Force India as we head into the Parabolica once again on the end of lap number 15 now. A couple of laps later, we're catching Lang. His pace isn't actually that good, which surprised me. But we appear to have the superior pace. 31.8 there. That was only 2/10 off Apex's time. So the pace is good as we now. We're not close enough to Langman yet, but skipping to the end of the next lap. We haven't caught him quite yet, but we're once again a bit closer. His best was low 32, so I would say probably 2 to 3 tenths a lap quicker than him, which is pretty impressive given his pace in other races we've done. We don't improve that time, only a 31.9 rather, but we're getting close in the slipstream. Langman goes defensive. We're not going to go for the move into turn 1, I don't think, as we've got a lot of opposite knock on the Apex there. Langman quite slow through the corner. We're more focusing on saving the car than anything else, and Lang's actually managed to get a much better exit than us there, so we're not going to be able to challenge him into the rocky chicane, unfortunately, which is probably where we'd like to make the move done to give us maximum time to get ahead before the pit straight on the next lap, as we've messed up the chicane there, sadly, and he's able to pull a gap once again. So yeah, struggling behind cars. You saw behind Hamilton earlier, I wasn't great, and it took me a while to get into a position to get the move done, and it is really costing me because I want to get after Mel. As you might be able to see, he's just there in the distance, and presuming everyone pits, Pinecone's actually trying the no stop at this point, but presuming everyone pits, that's P3. There's a couple of people also trying the no stop, but we reckon they'll bail out. We don't think it's going to be possible, if I'm honest. But Lang's taken a really poor line through a scurry there, just got oversteer on the curb, I'm going to guess. So we're going to go for maximum attack into Parabolica. He's going defensive. We're going to feint to the left, sort of, not really, but he's going to cover the racing line. We're able to chuck it up the inside. We've got the car stopped nicely for the apex. Can we get a good exit? We've run wide on the AstroTurf and white line there, so the exit's not going to be great. And he's in the slipstream once again. We're going to go for the inside here on the straight. Langman in the slipstream, going to have a look around the outside of turn 1. Hopefully we can be more confident on the brakes to hold it, and indeed we are. We broke much later than him there, his front wing disappearing well before we jumped on the brakes, and at that point I thought I braked too late, but in fact it was actually Lang braking too early, and we managed to hold the position for now. But as you can see, the proximity arrow is still right there. He's still having a look through Curva Grande, maybe going to have a go into the chicane. But at this point I'm telling Lang in the party, let's not battle, let's go and have a look and see if we can catch Mel, who's just up ahead, as you can see there. So he backs off there, saves his ERS, as we're now going to have a look at catching Mel as we skip to the end of lap number 18. We do a 31.5 rapid lap time there. Pinecone has now backed out of his one stop, but there's still a couple of people trying it, I think, as we now skip to the end of the next lap, and that's 31.4. So improvement once again, and it's actually only one person trying the one stop. Aaron Dazzler in the Red Bull is staying out in the lead at the moment, with Pinecone in second, Apex in third, Melanie in fourth, and myself in fifth. But as you can see, Melanie is only there just ahead, and we're going to see if we can catch up to him. Going to give it our best shot. I reckon the podium's on. At this point, Melanie does have a penalty, and I don't, so I technically don't need to pass him. But this is only for P4 at the moment, and Aaron Dazzler's looking pretty good for the win. As you can see, we've turned him way too early there. Yeah, we've cut both parts of the chicane. If you go back on the footage, you can look. I realise I'm going to cut the corner and try and apply more brakes, but there's nothing I could do. The penalty was deserved. As you can see, it's going on to lap 23. I think Bossley's off to the side there. He was having a difficult race in the wet conditions. The safety car's out once again. Sarah Hamilton is retired from the race, and the safety car has once again been deployed 2 times in one race after not seeing it once in the past week. And this is just a grandstand finish. Aaron Dazzler has been absolutely screwed. He was going to win the race on the no-stop. Incredible strategy from him. But now he has to come in for another set of wets. And Mel's past him, I'm past him. There he is coming out of the pits in P5. So this battle for Mel is now with... English please. This battle with Mel is now for a podium position. We both have one penalty. Apex also has a penalty in second. Sadly, Pinecone does not have a penalty in first, so if I somehow manage to pull off a worldy restart, the win is not possible. But it's giving to the end of lap 25. We're going to get 2 racing laps. The safety car is coming in now. Pinecone's gone for the same strategy, just trying to bomb it and be released whenever the game allows him to go, instead of managing it himself. As we've been released now, oversteer from myself, and again, as everyone's up really close. We've got on the curb there, huge oversteer moment as we've lost it. Melanie's been touched by Apex and he's off into the wall. We're up into P3 now, and this is a podium position in the slipstream of Apex and Pinecone heading down to turn 1. We're going to go for the racing line as we now head. We've backed out, we've braked early. Apex, I think, has gone in too deep there. He's not making the chicane, so we now have our sights set on Pinecone. Apex has had to go through the other chicane. As you can see, him and Langman both missing the chicane there with the cold brakes, or maybe just missing their braking points. We put it up into overtake here as we're on the back of Pinecone through the Curva Grande, getting in the slipstream. I don't think we're close enough for a move into the Rogier chicane, but he's going defensive. Maybe we can hook it up around the outside. Lewis Hamilton on Sebastian Vettel. There's a bit of contact there. He's squeezed me. I've managed to hop over the curb and get the move done. He's still alongside though as we head towards the Lesmos, but no, we've managed to get the move done. We're into the lead here. Apex now having a look at Pinecone as well. Up the inside into Lesmo 1, and we lead from Apex and Pinecone here, but we need Apex and Pinecone to battle a lot so we can pull a 3-second gap in 2 laps. It's highly unlikely, but I'm going to push. I've got the fuel, I've got the ERS going to run overtake for the rest of the race, and hopefully we're able to pull this gap and somehow manage to take the win of the race. But unfortunately Apex has let through Pinecone, and we've done it again. We've run deep into Ascari, not so bad this time. We managed to rejoin the track nice and quickly, but Pinecone is going to have a better exit as a result of that as we head down towards the Parabolica, but he's not close enough and we maintain the lead for the time being. As you can see, skipping on to the next lap, we still lead. Pinecone is still in second, sadly, and he has not got a penalty. So, although it's going to be an incredible drive for myself to take the win on track, sadly, It's not going to be. It's going to be P2 here due to our penalty, but still very enjoyable race. Makes a huge difference to be competitive in the wet again, and I really enjoyed it despite the result not being well. It could have been there, but as you can see the podium. Congrats to Pinecone. He was much quicker. The fastest laps will show in a minute when they put them up, and he definitely deserved to win there. And it's second place for me there. Also, the Giant has come out of nowhere and managed to take third, so congrats to him. The late safety car helping him out, as I don't think he had a penalty which allowed him to gain all kinds of positions. But yeah, that's the podium. Pinecone, myself and the Giant there celebrating our podium here, and as you can see, results on screen now. Pinecone's fastest lap, a lot faster than mine, so he did deserve to win. Although it would have been nice for me to steal it on the penultimate lap after the safety car there. But you can't win them all. Very happy with how the race went. Game worked pretty much perfectly. Safety car worked pretty much perfectly. And it's finally a good result for me in the racing. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you very soon. Goodbye.